even though the capitalists will like to blame poor and working people for fascism, it's the capitalists who directly funded and facilitated the rise of fascism, and who always, even before then, kept fascism in their back pocket as a reserve weapon should the class struggle reach a point where they weren't able to rule through quote-unquote normal democratic means. There are a number of capitalist entities and companies that are still powerful and wealthy today that have an extremely dark legacy of directly funding and abetting Mussolini in Italy and also Hitler in Germany. IG Farben, Krupp, Volkswagen, BMW, Deutsche Bank, Fiat, Pirelli, Ansaldo, and Banco di Roma. And relatively early on, the political magazine that Mussolini set up, it was funded with money received from pro-war heads of the big Italian industrial sector. So very early on, the capitalists threw money at Mussolini because they saw that he could be potentially useful. At the crest of the revolutionary wave in particular, the fascists were utterly incapable of making any real serious headway into the working class. You see in the elections in Milan in 1919, the fascists only obtained 2% of the vote. And this is a common feature. There's never really a point where even the strongest fascist movements are able to achieve anything like a majority amongst the working class. Mussolini also enjoyed praise from the heads of the main imperialist nations. Yeah. Far from this myth about World War II being fundamentally a titanic clash between the democratic, Western powers, the Americans and Europe, allied against Nazi authoritarian barbarism. Winston Churchill said the following of Mussolini: "I could not help being charmed, like so many other people have been, by his gentle and simple bearing, his calm, detached poise in spite of so many burdens. If I had been an Italian, I'm sure that I should have been wholeheartedly with you from start to finish in your triumphant struggle against the bestial appetites and passions of Leninism. Better Mussolini than Bolshevism."
In the struggle between the working class and the capitalist class, or between communism and capitalism, obviously these guys find themselves on the side of the capitalists, which means they're on the side of fascism and Nazism. They had a very soft policy all the way up until 1939 towards Hitler as well, which wasn't just a misguided attempt at averting war. It was actually a policy to try to appease Hitler and try to make him attack the Soviet Union, because they saw him common ground against Bolshevism, basically. So this is the way that things play out in the 1930s. The ruling class is looking towards fascism in order to use them as a battering ram against the Soviet Union, against the working class, and against its organizations.